Obsbot is known for making quality webcams. This is their all-new OBSBOT Tiny SE. It has a 2-axis gimbal, a super smooth 100 frames per second full HD video quality, an amazing noise-cancelling mic, and it's AI-powered to follow me if I move, walk, or present something automatically. This is one of the best AI webcams in the market today. And in this video, we'll explore all its features to see what sets this apart from other webcams. Hi, this is Sanjana and welcome to the Tech Girl channel. Let's start with the hardware and specs. This webcam is so tiny, as the name suggests. It has a nice weight to it. The body, the camera, and the gimbal all feels very high quality. As you can see, the camera is mounted on a gimbal. It's called the PTZ cam, which means using this gimbal, it can pan, tilt, and zoom digitally. You can pan, tilt, zoom manually using the Obsbot app, or you can use gestures and AI to automatically track you when you use the gimbal. It doesn't have a webcam privacy cover, but when the camera is sleeping or not in use, it automatically tilts down for privacy. One feature I liked the most was, even if the camera was not sleeping, if I nudge the camera gimbal down, it goes into privacy mode, which has come in very handy so many times. And if I open any camera app, it wakes up again. I love this feature. It has a noise-cancelling microphone on the front and a tripod screw at the bottom if you want to mount it anywhere else. I just use this flap and groove to fix on my laptop or monitor. It costs $99, which is around the ballpark of any gimbal webcam price, but it has some very nice features up its sleeves to make it even more worth it. Before going into its features, let's talk about some specs. It has a large 1/2.8-inch CMOS sensor with 1080p resolution. In the world of 4K webcams now, 1080p resolution may seem low, but there are two very good reasons for it. First, if a camera has a larger resolution, such as 4K, the individual pixel size will be small, which also means that it can capture less light, which also means that the low light performance will not be that great. 1080p is more than enough for webcams while getting much better low light performance, which in my opinion is more important for webcams. Recording this video in low light, let me know what you think. Second, most 4K webcams don't have a high frame rate because the processor is not powerful enough to process as many frames per second. So usually the video is choppy and there'll be a lot of motion blur. This OBSBOT Tiny SE does 100 frames per second super smooth video. For comparison, 120 frames per second is the 4 times slow-mo our smartphones can capture. Does that mean that you will use this webcam for capturing slow-mo videos? Well, you can if you want, but 100 frames per second video are gonna be buttery smooth. You won't see that motion blur you usually see with low frames per second webcams. As far as I know, this is the only webcam in the market which can do 100 frames per second at 1080p. The box came with the webcam itself, a decent USB-C and a USB A to A adapter. Getting it set up was fairly straightforward. I connected it to my laptop using USB-C, and within seconds, my laptop was able to recognize it as a webcam. But I also downloaded the Obsbot Control Center, which gives me an immense level of control. This clip you're seeing right now is captured on the Obsbot Tiny SE at 100 frames per second. You can see how crisp the video is. The lighting in my surrounding is also average, but still, the larger sensor and the larger aperture is able to capture enough light in challenging environments. The audio you're listening to right now is also coming from the Obsbot Tiny SE. How does it sound? Let me know in the comments below. The webcam also has HDR if you have contrasty scenes, like next to a window or bright outdoor scenes. Okay, let's talk about the gimbal and the AI features. Because other than the crisp 1080p videos, this is what makes the webcam so special. If you move around often during your calls, or say you frequently present something in the meetings, it's essential to keep you in the frame. Since this webcam has a pan-tilt gimbal, it can track you using AI to keep you always in the frame. Let me show you how. This is the Obsbot Control Center. When the webcam is connected, you can control the gimbal using this joystick. It can pan, tilt almost to 360 degrees. But that's not the fun part, right? If you want the webcam to automatically track your face during a meeting, just tap on this normal tracking option under AI human tracking section. The LED light on the camera will turn on blue, notifying that it's tracking. And now when you move, the webcam is going to automatically follow you. You can move and sway when you're sitting, or you can walk and press in something. The camera will never lose track of you. The tracking is also very accurate and precise. There are more options here like track only upper body, track close up, track headless, or just lower body depending on your needs. I want to show you one more AI powered tracking option. You can set zones where you want this camera to track and not track. Let's say, for example, you are in a meeting room and you want it to track only on the right side because you have confidential clutter on the left side. In the Obsbot app, you can set the tracking zones here like this. Once I track the zone and update it, watch what happens when the camera is tracking me and I go beyond the tracking zone. The camera will stop tracking me there. All my clutter is hidden safely. But if I come back into the tracking zone, it will start tracking me back again. This is wonderful for at-home remote workers. There is something called a non-tracking area as well. For example, say there is a whiteboard area which you want to be in focus even if you're moving around. If you mark this area as a non-tracking area, and if you walk into this area, the camera will stop following you and focus on the content. And as you move away from this area, it will start tracking again. This is again useful for meeting rooms with whiteboards where you want the focus on the board itself. Neat, right? Here's the thing. AI tracking is nice, but the nicer part is being able to start and stop tracking just with gestures. If you're standing 6 feet away, you don't want to come to the laptop to start and stop tracking, right? Just show this gesture and the Tiny SE will start tracking you. If you want to stop tracking, show the same gesture again and it will stop. The gesture recognition is again spot on. I've had 100% gesture accuracy in the last 8 weeks of me using this. If you want to zoom in or zoom out, you can do that too with gestures. Just use this gesture to zoom in and this gesture to zoom out. The Obsbot Control Center app is also very powerful and has a ton of features. You can set preset gimbal positions, you can control the gimbal, enable and disable tracking, etc. But it can do a lot more. You can record videos directly from here using this record option. You can beautify using filters and soften your face for those early morning meetings. You can control the image appearance like exposure, white balance, saturation, focus, sharpness, and every single image settings you would want to in this image section. There are so many customization options here as you would like. If all these are too much, then you can just put the app into a light mode, which is way simpler to manage things. Okay, before I end this video, I have one more very important feature I want to show you. The whole USP of this webcam was the 100 frames per second super crisp video, right? The Obsbot Control Center can capture only 1080p at 60 frames per second. It's up to other camera apps to utilize this 100 frames per second feature. Luckily, it's pretty easy to get this feature using third-party softwares like OBS Studio. The integration with OBS Studio is also just great. Here in OBS Studio, you can add the Obsbot camera as a video and audio source. Then you can configure the camera settings to input at 100 frames per second in 1080p. The video on the left is captured at 1080p 100 frames per second, while the video on the right is captured at lower FPS. You can see the difference in the motion blur between the two clips easily. In fact, OBS is the default source I use even if I have to take a call or record something on my laptop using webcam directly. Not just OBS, the Obsbot Tiny SE also integrates really well within the Stream Deck. You can install Obsbot plugin within the Stream Deck store and you can pretty much control every property of the webcam like gimbal movement, zoom, image exposure, gesture control, tracking, you name it. This integration is really important for some gamers and professionals. Alright, I've tried various webcams in the past like the Insta360 Pro, eMeet 4K webcam, MacBook's inbuilt webcams, etc. But the Obsbot strikes a great balance between image quality, audio quality, AI features, price, and built-in features. I'll leave a link in the description below if you want to check it out. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you all in the next one. This is Anjana. Bye-bye.